going to teach you how I took Andrew from 110 kilos down to 93.2, losing a total of 16.8 kilos. Okay, and the great news is you can do it too, and I'm going to show you how we did it today. As you can see here, Andrew started off, 110, and down here he is far leaner and just more muscular as well. And to mention, he did this all whilst having a broken foot, had a high-stress job, working full-time, raising a family, and being a new dad. And he also went on an overseas holiday during this period as well. So he had plenty of adversity, he had plenty of challenges, but he still got it done. And I want to show you today how you can also do it. And let's be honest, he had every excuse, but when you have a system that's easy to follow, it makes the whole process so much more streamlined, and that's what he's done right here. And I'm going to teach you the 3 key factors that helped Andrew achieve this every transformation, and to help you go from carrying the excess weight and feeling like crap to feeling leaner, stronger, and in control of your body. So if you're unhappy right now, you feel like your body is not where it should be, and your health is failing you, I want you to be here soon, okay? This smiley little sunflower with a trophy, feeling happy about yourself and how you feel. And just a real quick one, just on who I am. So you're probably not wondering who is this random guy on the internet talking to me. I have been there as well. So I've been a personal trainer and coach for 10 years, health enthusiast and performance guy since I was like 16 years old. I've always loved health and fitness. I've coached over 1,000 people through online challenges and communities. And I'm also a face-to-face coach. And I own a coaching company and a supplement brand that sells high-quality supplements, predominantly protein. And I've also been super shredded on the lean side. So I've competed in bodybuilding shows. Here's me in Bali last year with my girlfriend. And I've also been heavy at 96 kilos, where I was quite big and thick. And I've also had a ton of injuries, hip arthroscopes, fractures in my spine, just recovering now from a hernia operation. But just to highlight that, regardless of having challenges and things going on, you can still achieve great results with the right process. So I'm keen to show you that. Here are our results here over the years for some of our best performing clients. Here's my Instagram. Hit me up on there if you get stuck with anything. I'm always happy to help people. And yeah, let's move on. So buckle up, my friends. How Andrew lost 16.8 kilos. All right. The first point here was creating a simple training program, because we had to cater for his broken foot and his lifestyle. He was busy. He had a small injury to deal with, and it had to be a simple approach. Okay. It couldn't be complicated or hard to follow, because then he just wouldn't have done it. He would not have gone through with it for as long as he did. Number 2, kept calories high enough to not feel hungry right away. How many of you have, try to improve your health, fitness, lose some weight, and all of a sudden you feel like you're hungry because you're starving yourself, drop calories too low? All right. I've been there before many years ago, and I've had clients who come on for the first time who experience the same thing. So that had to be kept in check so that he had a sustainable and an easy start and process with his eating. Okay. It couldn't be a starvation method, because it just never works. And it's like shit. Like, you don't want to hate yourself while you're doing it. And then when fat loss started to stall, we increased his movement, which was his steps per day. Okay. And that is because often the problem when things start to stall and plateau, it's not usually what you think it is. People always say it's their nutrition or their training, which it could definitely be. But sometimes the underlying concept there that's missed is the movement part or the daily step count, because that's a huge part of the equation. I'm going to go into that in some more detail a bit later on. And a big focus for us during Andrew's time was the smallest tweaks for the biggest return always. You don't want to go from, say, not exercising much and not living in a healthier way, to just like changing everything at once. So crazy low food, high output or training, you're doing heaps of steps per day, you're going for all these walks to exercise, because you want to just use the minimum effective dose for the maximum return, which is what we did here. And it's also a smarter and more efficient way as well. So dropping almost 17 kilos. here was a main pyramid for us to follow for Andrew. And this is the method that we followed that you can use as well. So like I said earlier, overall training exercise was the first thing, okay? It was just replacing the best exercises and getting rid of the bad ones or the non-effective ones. Then it was nutrition. And then it was fixing up his fixing up his daily and weekly steps once things started to stall a little bit and we felt like we had to sort of up the ante and keep things progressing along for him. And if you can follow this pyramid, you'll do far better than times when you just don't know what to focus on. The biggest focus is here, training and exercise. That can be the foundation of everything. Find your fun in it, find it enjoyable, find the pleasure, then nutrition, fine tune, and then the extra fine tune is the daily and the movement part at the top. Daily movement and sort of overall weekly movement, sorry. Okay, so step one was his training program. And when we say simple, we're going to say simple because it was just 3 days to start with. So you can probably get away with doing 3 days a week of training. And that's the requirement. If you can't do 2 or 3 days as a minimum, maybe you're just not ready to change yet. But I think you can find the time. If you can fit 40 minutes in somewhere 3 times per week, you are off to a great start already. Okay, and these were easy to learn exercises such as a leg press, a kettlebell squat, and a trap bar deadlift. And we removed the less challenging, longer to learn movements. So no single leg work stuff, no walking lunges, and no super advanced movements for this first phase. Because here's the thing with doing challenging stuff or things that are very hard to learn. Things that are hard to learn are harder or more challenging to get good at. If you can't get good at something, it's hard to apply intensity and consistency to. So the goal is to find the easier things with a maximum return so that you can get the ball rolling and start to see some progress. Like you want to see a kilo drop in the first week or more sometimes. You want to see your first 3 to 4 weeks drop 3 to 4, 4.5 kilos. That's the goal. That can't be done when you're messing around with like fancy lunges or Bulgarian split squats. Like unless you're quite advanced at training, those aren't for you just yet. Keep it simple and get things moving, get your heart rate up and just start building some muscle and start feeling that sweat come out and just like get things happening. That's the goal, intensity and consistency, which is just here on this summarized focus. So the big thing for us here was consistency and intensity. How can Andrew apply himself every single week in a consistent manner and also apply the intensity enough to get the result and return we're after? And I'm going to put on here the so he's looking strong, pushing heavy weight. And I'm glad that you can't hear the background music there because it's actually a Pretty Ricky song, which is a very odd choice for a gym song, but it was a good laugh in the moment as well. And up here as well was, if we just go back, here is his program as well. So as you can see, super simple, full body, upper body, full body. We're just there just to get him moving and get things happening. So he's got trap bar deadlift, hip thrust on one day. He had more exercises than this, but this is an example for you. Lat pull downs, chest supported row, quad extensions, and lying leg curls. So simple stuff to get things happening. All right, so step 2 was kept the calories high. We couldn't drop too much. So this meant no strict dieting. We didn't remove any food groups. Andrew ate a range of everything. He ate everything, okay? Being mindful to not overeat. Basic portion control. Now, if you're not tracking closely, basic portion control is your best friend when it comes to not eating too much and keeping your calories and macros in check. And now, when we say like don't overeat, and you're probably saying, well, what does that mean? It pretty much just means like, don't eat like a dickhead. If you can have one plate of food, keep your portion sizes moderate, don't go back for seconds, don't stack your plate up like this. Just be mindful of what you're eating, okay? If you feel sort of full and you're satisfied, stop eating. Don't eat it just because you don't want to waste the food. Like you could feed it to someone else or save it for later. Like you don't have to smash every calorie on the plate. He also focused on high protein to reduce hunger. And as we know, protein is incredibly important for reducing hunger. Cell regeneration, making you feel full, lean tissue and muscle mass gain. The list goes on and on and on. Okay. One thing you eliminate was alcohol. If you're trying to get leaner, I do suggest you eliminate alcohol. It's going to be your best friend by doing that. Okay. Get rid of it. Your body will love you, and you'll see the results, I think, both from like obviously a body composition standpoint, so the body fat you're carrying, and also just mentally you feel great. Okay. Planning ahead for the day, he became much more organized. So he knew what he was eating the next day at work. So rather than just rocking up to work with not knowing what to have for lunch and for his snacks, he had them already planned out, and it went a huge way in making sure he wasn't having too many calories for the day. He averaged 2,000, 2,400 calories each day on average, and that was plenty to still feel full, still eat with his family, and not feel like he was starving himself. And the big focus for us was to not drop the food too low too fast. And I recommend the same thing for you, because you don't want to run into a plateau where you have nowhere to go with calories and you've already dropped too low. It's always remove a small amount, bit by bit, to get the best outcome. And here was a great example of a message from Andrew that I received after his Easter weekend with his family. And it said, "Thanks for a great sesh. To know I still dropped kilograms after splurging at Easter reassures me I'm on the right path." So he had a huge Easter weekend, had a really nice time with his family and friends, ate plenty of food, ate chocolate, all the fun stuff, and he still dropped that week, and his body fat still went lower. So it just showed that like the overall approach was just such a good fit for someone like him trying to achieve that goal. And step 3, we had to look for a missing piece. Okay, so when your training nutrition is taking care of the most part, if things start to stall, which it does happen after a period of time, so we had Andrew for 6 to 7 months, and once your body naturally starts to stall with fat loss because it wants to adapt and doesn't want to keep dropping and dropping and dropping because it feels like it's being under stress too much. So here, what this meant for us was to find the missing piece. So his nutrition training was fantastic, and we eventually implemented more daily movement. The first thing was adding an extra training day. So his training went from 3 to 4 days at about month 4 or 5. And then we introduced more daily movement to help sort of make up the rest of his general output of his training week. So what this meant for us was adding the extra day training, and then secondly, the 10,000 per day step target. Now, you probably hear the step target being a real common thing that gets spoken around the industry, but it's just a real simple baseline number to give people. And it's sort of like a starting point. So you can do like, between 9, 11 or 12,000 around that sort of that range. But starting with 10 is like sort of like like an insurance amount. It's like you're probably going to drop weight on 10,000 plus training and your nutrition being in check. So we started with 10,000. If he wanted to keep on getting leaner and leaner and leaner, over time, you would increase that by a little bit and then reassess nutrition and training as well. But for the most part, that took care of a big chunk of weight loss for him because everything was just working really well. And just to reiterate here, why it's important to assess like the movement part, because the training nutrition can only do so much before other factors like daily movement or non-exercise activity needs to be looked into further. So sometimes you can't, here's the thing I said, a lot of new clients come on board. Their training's pretty good. The nutrition's pretty good as well. It's not too bad. But then their daily movement outside of training is terrible. If they work an office job and they're doing 4,000 steps a day or less, or 5,000, it's just not enough. Like you can't do say like 35,000 steps a week, eat 2,000 plus calories per day and train to an extent, maybe say 3 days a week, and expect to lose weight. Like it's just not enough movement. And over the years, we've gotten a lot less active with things like Netflix and computers and technology. We're scrolling TikTok more, where we're just sitting down more on our butts. So generally speaking, if you can just get off your butt more, find ways to make it, more fun for you if you have to, for going for walks with your dog or pet, with your kids, family, go play a sport, whatever it is for you that makes you happy, moving more, it's critical, okay? And it's often a very underlooked reason as to why someone has plateaued or stalled with their results. So the outcome, Andrew dropped nearly 17 kilos with just training 4 times per week, three times for the first 4 months, eating above 2,000 calories a day, walking 10,000 steps per day. And as you can see, look at this transformation from here to here. Absolute superstar. Arms looking bloody jacked. He's got calves popping, doing really well. And a big part as well for Andrew, now that I think about it again, was just his intensity. He trained hard. So training hard will solve a lot of your problems when it comes to changing your body. Okay, so for you, what you need to do to build a lean and toned body. 1, follow a basic training program where you can apply intensity and consistency. Don't make it challenging. Don't make it really like complex. Simple stuff, okay? Simple stuff where you can train hard and you can do it for a long time. 6 months of training 3 times per week is a lot better than 3 months of, say, training 4 to 5 times per week if you only do it every second or third week. You've got to think in a long time span. Think of a 12-month goal, 2-year goal, 3-year goal, and your goal is to be consistent across that whole time span. 2, get your calories and macros under control. If you're not tracking, portion control, okay? Don't overeat. Don't be a dickhead, okay? Be smart. Have the discipline and the self-respect to say, you know what, I've eaten enough today. I don't need the extra food. I'm good to go. I'm satisfied and I have a goal to hit, okay? Be loving on yourself in that way and also hard at the same time. And doesn't need to be perfect either. Just be better on average. Like I said before on point 1, over a longer time span, just be really good on average. And if you can be really good on average, you'll do great in the long term. I have made a ton of errors in my training and food, and I've had injuries and whatnot over a long time span, say about a decade. But because I was pretty good on average, I could therefore manipulate my body, get stronger, get leaner, build some muscle, and it still worked out fine for me because I was just good on average. And stay generally active. So if you have a Fitbit, nothing less than 10,000 steps per day if you want to set a number to start with straight away, okay? And people who move more are leaner and healthier. Make it fun if you have to. Like I said before, go for a walk with your pet, with the kids, family. Go play basketball. It's my favorite sport. But just do things. Play some ping pong. Play tennis. Whatever it is. Just go and do stuff. Me and my partner, my girlfriend, we go and hit tennis sometimes, and we'll rack up like 2,000-3,000 steps within like maybe 30 minutes of playing or 20 minutes of playing. We just do it for fun because it's good fun to do and it's a nice activity as well. So if something today hasn't made sense to you, and if this presentation has got you trying to calculate your own approach and you're thinking, what is this guy talking about? And you're trying to calculate like Alan off The Hangover, that's okay, because sometimes not all things are easy to learn for the first time. So if anything is confusing today, they were the 3 main points for you to focus on, and that is what I literally use with all of our clients over the last 10 years. Like that, it's those 3 things. If you can just do them, it's going to help you so much. But if it doesn't make sense to you and you'd love to ask a question or two, I'm happy to hear from you. I'd like to hear from you. In fact, my email is jared@epmcoaching.com.au. My Instagram there, my personal one has some health and fitness stuff and performance stuff too. And that one there is more coaching based. Or the website, there's some free resources. But if you're stuck, reach out to me and I'll be happy to assist you. Otherwise, thanks for listening and watching, and I'll see you next time.